What is the MG Gloster? The MG Gloster is a major, three-column, body-on-outline SUV acquired from MG's sister image Maxus. Possessed by a similar parent SAIC, the Gloster is basically the Maxus D90 in China and the LDV D90 in Australia. It's been rebranded for India and sold as the leader of the Morris Garage's MG range, with an appropriately British-sounding name, Gloster. The Gloster made its India debut in February 2020 at the Auto Expo, and one thing was quickly clear. This was a greater vehicle than the other three-column, body-on-outline, premium SUVs marked down in India, specifically the Ford Endeavour, Toyota Fortuner and the Mahindra Altoraz G4. More insights regarding the SUV streamed out throughout the following not many months, strikingly a long highlights list that included ADAS, progressed driver help frameworks, up to this point seen distinctly on a small bunch of full-scale extravagance vehicles, giving some assurance to the SUV's situating. Number 1. MG Gloster. Outside subtleties, we weren't kidding about the measurements. Its 4,985 mm length, 1,867 mm tallness and 2,950 mm wheelbase are generally top tier, with just the 1,926 mm width being somewhat not exactly the Altoraz G4. What's more, this establishes the vibe for what the Gloster intends to offer, which is somewhat a greater amount of everything, contrasted with the enormous SUVs we're utilized to. This is really a huge SUV with heaps of exceedingly significant street presence, to the point that its 19-inch composite wheels, themselves a size bigger than the opposition, nearly look a little overshadowed in the enormous wheel curves. Notwithstanding its monumental size, in any case, what the MG Gloster needs is an unmistakable plan. There's no visual connection to the next MG models marked down in India. There wouldn't be, as every vehicle is sourced from an alternate SAIC-possessed brand, and a portion of the subtleties looks somewhat subordinate of different brands as well. Number 2. MG Gloster. Space and solace. Like the dashboard, the front seats establish a decent first connection. They're power customizable, however the co-driver can't adapt to stature. Warmed, hung in knitted tan cowhide upholstery, very enormous and liberally padded. The driver's seat goes a cycle further, with seat ventilation, need and a memory work. Be that as it may, as you attempt to get comfortable for a lengthy drive, you'll notice the lumbar help, even at its most reduced setting, is a digit exorbitant, and the padding all round is hardened and hard. The back rub, accordingly, feels more like physiotherapy than unwinding. All things considered, even with the seat motored down to its least setting, forward perceivability is incredible, on account of upstanding columns and a moderately low set scramble. Indeed, even the monster wing mirrors have a sufficient hole from the Gloster's body to not reason an immense vulnerable side. Back perceivability, nonetheless, is hampered by the huge head limitations on the back seats. Also, discussing the back seats, it begins with a couple of skipper seats in the subsequent column. It's somewhat of a stage up into the lodge, similar to all stepping stool outline SUVs. However, the two individual seats are nearly pretty much as liberally padded as the ones front and center. They're not fueled, yet they can be leaned back a reasonable piece, and, all the more significantly, have a long scope of front and rearward sliding travel, taking into consideration limousine legroom if nobody is in the last line. Once more, similar to the front seats, the subsequent column pair feel observably hard and you don't exactly sink into them. Housed in the seat bases are cup holders and capacity for tablet PCs. You get a third environment zone for the back lodge, and obviously, bigger than any time in recent memory, is the all-encompassing sunroof, which has become a MG staple. Number 3. MG Gloster. Highlights. In the event that the Gloster's size doesn't bulldoze different SUVs, its highlights list unquestionably will. The 12.3-inch touchscreen alone packs in a great deal. Aside from being the biggest, it gets Apple CarPlay, Android Auto and MG's iSmart setup of associated vehicle tech. This incorporates a cell phone application for far-off usefulness, savvy voice orders, a locally available eSIM, The Ghana music streaming application worked in live climate status and mapped my India-sourced route with constant traffic information. There's additionally the feed for the extremely accommodating 360-degree cameras, which can even do a more essential adaptation of the 3D outer increased reality we previously saw on the BMW 7 Series. What's truly helpful is it changes the fundamental camera feed to suit your need, front or back, depending what direction you're moving, and a side view when you utilize the markers. Notwithstanding, the camera goal is really poor, which means a helpless picture, particularly in low light. We've discussed the sunroof, the warmed, cooled and neating driver's seat and the 8.0-inch midscreen previously, yet a couple of more things worth referencing are the 3-zone environment control, remote telephone charging, 12-speaker sound framework, 12 shading surrounding lighting, tire pressure observing and an electronic stopping brake with auto hold. And afterward there are the ADAS, Advanced Driver Assisted System, highlights. Some of them are more recognizable nowadays, similar to driver weakness recognition and auto stopping help, yet then the MG Gloster copies down with its sensor-based tech. Number 4. MG Gloster highlights. In the event that the Gloster's size doesn't bulldoze different SUVs, its highlights list surely will. The 12.3-inch touchscreen alone packs in a great deal. Aside from being the biggest, it gets Apple CarPlay, Android Auto and MG's iSmart setup of associated vehicle tech. This incorporates a cell phone application for distant usefulness, keen voice orders, and installed eSIM. The Ghana music streaming application worked in live climate status and mapped my India-sourced route with constant traffic information. There's likewise the feed for the extremely accommodating 360-degree cameras, which can even do a more fundamental adaptation of the 3D outside expanded reality we previously saw on the BMW 7 Series. What's truly helpful is it changes the primary camera feed to suit your need, front or back, depending what direction you're moving, and a side view when you utilize the markers. In any case, the camera goal is quite poor, which means a helpless picture, particularly in low light. We've discussed the sunroof, the warmed, cooled and neating driver's seat and the 8.0-inch midscreen previously, yet a couple of more things worth referencing are the 3-zone environment control, remote telephone charging, 12-speaker sound framework, 12 shading encompassing lighting, tire pressure observing and an electronic stopping brake with auto hold. And afterward there are the ADAS, Advanced Driver Assisted System, highlights. Some of them are more natural nowadays, similar to driver weariness identification and auto stopping help, yet then the MG Gloster copies down with its sensor-based tech. Number 5. MG Gloster ride quality. This is the place where the MG Gloster's driving experience begins to come great. In the first place, there's the refinement, both from the motor and the running stuff, at low velocities or high, which is truly extraordinary with motor, wind and outside sound viably quieted. The ride quality is additionally great. Of course, you'll get a portion of that unevenness normal of a stepping stool outline SUV at low paces, however it smoothens out commendably as you speed up and isn't as close to as rough or fun as a portion of the others out there. It does this while keeping up great self-control at expressway speeds as well, and there's none of that skim you may discover on an excessively delicate suspension. Besides, it will smother broken streets without recoiling, which is exactly what you need from your large, body-on-outline SUV. There is a lot of body roll, expectedly, so you wouldn't have any desire to corner this large SUV hard. Indeed, even high-velocity, path change moves on the interstate ought to be made with some thought for your travelers toward the back.